I was really lucky also with my collaboration. I had a really good communication with Taylor, and so we got to come up with lots of ideas. We started out quite broad, and then it just got quite complex, negotiating that space, the time difference and all that sort of thing. So then we just ended up with something really simple, and I think that's where the most interesting stuff happens, because the simpler it gets, the more diverse it became, I think, in some strange way. So we set tasks. We had 4 different characters that were me, her, and 2 fictitious ones. She created hers in Second Life, and I just created someone that was unlike myself. So it was an uncomfortable space for me to try and act out. And then we just had 4 tasks that we completed, and then just formatted them together so you could see the differences in the people, the avatars. You okay, James?
So I can see which 2 you. Are they all you in this one, or
no? It's each sequence is made up of 4 people. Right. So it's Ahi, Mahi, Taylor, Kayla.
Right.
And each 4 ones, and then we've got a similar task, but each outcome is so different. And I think it didn't really translate into YouTube and into the format that I did, but I found that quite interesting. Like, we made this big conceptual idea, but then at the end of the day it didn't work at all, you know, like, and it's become something completely different. It's this kind of collection of weird eclectic images that people might find relationships in the way I've grouped them, but they might not, and I quite like that.
So what were the tasks?
The first one was draw a line, and Mahi, my badass self, tagged a line on the wall, and Ahi sewed a line, and Taylor drew a line with markers, and Kayla made a line in Second Life in the sandbox. And then there was favourite meal, and Ahi's was sprouts, and Mahi's was bolognese with lots of wheat, because I can't have wheat at the moment, so I was like, and Kayla's was McDonald's, and Taylor's was a kebab, and then it was make a circle and make your name out of found materials. And so, yeah, the found materials one was the end one. So Ahi, fire, Taylor's like a clothes tailor, Kayla, she made it out of words on Second Life, and Mahi means dirty undies in Tongan, so I just...
I think when I first viewed the work, what really stood out was the format and the division of the 4 segments, and there was a tension there for me with so much movement going on in a couple of the sequences, and then the stills. So sometimes, I liked that. I think that was interesting, and then it was also hard to focus on the stills. Like my eyes went to the movement, and so I think it worked. And then I'm not sure. I was a little confused as to like your concept. I didn't quite. I was surprised to hear that you had 4 different characters. I wouldn't have, that didn't translate. Although I was curious about the Second Life character, that who that was and how that worked. The undies, definitely the humour in it really works, I think. And perhaps the difference between the real life, which was the video footage, seemed very real, and also that virtual life. So the 2 different spaces, the physical space and the virtual space, there was quite a division. That was quite I could definitely get that from it.
Instead of interest, like a distinct visual difference between the characters. Do you know what I mean? Like, so there was a distinct. So maybe you dressed up one avatar. Had like a wig on, and why wasn't there like a more?
I don't know. I think for me, because I was physically acting out, I think it was just I don't know, maybe I could have expressed it visually better, but for me it was just kind of negotiating the space of doing something that I'm not used to.
Yeah, yeah.
So I don't think I took that step of how that's going to translate for other people to get.
Yeah, so it's more just about the doing instead of the action.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very like action based. I mean,
Before
when
that,
you carry
yeah.
it's
Yeah.
rather than.
So where was on Taylor's input?
What do you mean?
Are you free?
We set tasks for all 4 of us, and then we just all did them, and then she'd send me the footage and I'd put it in the right sequence. So she'd send me what she had done and what Kato had done, and then put together what I had done.
One of the things that worked really well about that was that she sent you a lot of stills and you had a lot of moving image so that there wasn't too much going on in the screen, which was really great, I think. Worked.
Yeah, I'm not so sure about that actually. I found the still images sort of, I just not sure I understood why they were still.
Because they went on for so long, it's kind of like...
Yeah, well that raised the question I suppose because they did go on for so long, but it's like, I mean Second Life I know isn't still, it's as animated as other lives. So I found that odd, and I don't mind the overload thing. You know, if I have to watch it several times, then
Right.
watch it several times.
Gotcha.
Which I was going diagonally from the left moving image in the corner and the top right,
Yeah.
whereas the other it was almost like they were superfluous in a way. So you just like this way.
Yeah, maybe like the overloading of information would have kind of worked more in its favour. You know, if you have this overloading of information, which is, you know, if we're talking about the internet and like, you know, globalization and information everywhere, maybe that idea of information overload would have worked quite well. So,
But that's not something that Ahi can control, is it? It's
No,
like
well,
she can
exactly.
put as much as she can into
Yeah,
the
that's-
movement, but whether Taylor wanted to do work like that is a big question.
Because the performance pieces are very, they're really strong,
Yeah.
especially that
Yeah,
strain.
that's
They're
great.
they're very strong, and so yeah, I'm wondering if it was a presentation issue or and you did say, I can remember in the middle of this project you said, I'm not sure about this, but because of the collaboration maybe you had to, I don't know how you could have.
It would be interesting to sort of, you know, outside of the framework of the project, open it up to say, okay, so how would I show this type of output in another way? Would I have, you know, 4 data shows showing 4 separate screens? Would I have one coming on and then another one going off, and so that you could move it around and be more playful with it in terms of how it operated in the space, perhaps?
Right, yeah. I think for me, I shut it down quite a lot because I was thinking about how it would go
Sure.
onto YouTube, you
Sure.
know, like,
Yeah.
and then just that whole kind of, the way videos are shown on YouTube, they're just kind of rough and it doesn't really work all the time and it scutters along, but I like that.
Mm.
So I think it would change the project completely if it was good to be shown in an art space. It uses art language a lot, you know. I mean, the sort of the relationships you've got going here between the dustbin and this and the circle here. I mean, they sort of set up visual conversations with each other, but they seem to have a contemporary awareness of language as well. And I think that's really useful. You know, they sort of they locate themselves in art practice through their visual language. I think that's really important. Maybe it distinguishes it slightly from YouTube home movies. Yeah.